Some people say to me, oh, you eat sugar, you're going to get fat. That's not true. What's going to make you fat is eating too much food. Honestly, it actually might be too hot. Too hot doesn't change the fact that I need to film a video, and too hot doesn't change the fact that today we're going to go through some TikTok bits and bobs, and we're going to look at some of the most useless and potentially even pointless things I've ever seen on the old TikTok machine, and I'm going to tell you why they're pointless and what they could be doing differently to hopefully prevent you from making the same mistakes these people might be making. If you learn anything, just one single thing from this video, I'd appreciate it if you did click the button down below to subscribe to the channel, but again, only if you learn something. And if you don't learn anything, then drop me an Instagram message at Harry_TFNL and tell me that my forehead is large, because I probably need to hear the truth. The first one's already a bit of a spicy one, considering what this man has been doing in the industry recently, but we're going to crack on.
Day 7 of the book, and today I'm going to take you on a food shop. This is everything that I'm eating to become an absolute beast. Bosh!
This individual, I believe he's like 6'1" or something, maybe 6'2". He's quite tall, and he's about 18 years old. And the first thing you saw there was the fact he was eating 4,000 calories a day. Yes, height is going to influence caloric intake quite heavily, probably a lot more than you think it will. But for somebody of that stature, who's not particularly a large person, who I would say is quite a light individual based on what he said, you do not need 4,000 calories to bulk. And when people like that often say, oh, I can't gain weight, despite eating 4,000 calories a day, the first thing I jump to is, how consistent are you with those calories? Because people like this will say, I eat 4,000 calories a day, 5,000 calories a day, 6,000 calories a day, and I just can't gain weight. Because you eat 4,000 calories 2 days of the week, and then you'll eat about 1,500 calories for the other 5 days. Or you'll eat 4,000 calories once, and in reality, you're actually sitting about 2,000 average because you just can't hit your calories consistently. That's where you fall short. Set yourself a more realistic target. Eat less calories, but eat those calories every day consistently. Your weight's probably going to change. And secondly, you have a data point to go off that says, actually, this isn't enough calories, and I probably need to consume more. Consistency is key. Same thing with weight loss. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not losing weight on 1,000 calories. Are you eating 1,000 calories consistently though? Or are you eating 1,000 calories a couple of days a week and 3,000 calories the other days? The weekly average does even out pretty quickly. And again, on top of that, this person probably doesn't need 4,000 calories to bulk, let's be honest. More quad, more glute. Let's find out. Is this accurate, or am I being lied to? Okay, hang on a second. Yeah, valid. So, forward lean here, upright torso. More knee travel means more quad. That forward lean allows you to put the glutes in a more lengthened position. This is bloody spot on. I like that. What you could actually do is elevate the heels on this one just to encourage further knee travel. Yeah, the big thing that you really need to notice, well, two big things to say, is look at the angle here, and also look at the degree of knee travel. Those two things alone are really going to indicate whether something might be more quad or glute when doing movements like this. Again, more bend of the knees. Yeah, this is valid. This is actually really valid. What I would say is just be wary of not letting your lower back take over too much on hinge patterns. When you start just going straight down, you do question whether the lower back is getting a bit more involved. Not only was that really good, that was actually really simplified, and I like that. I like simple and effective because simple often can be effective. 3 staples for rounder glutes, something I definitely need. So let's see what this individual says. RDLs, banging. Barbell, belt squat, dumbbell. An RDL in general is a banging movement for the glutes and the hamstrings. I respect it. B stance hip thrust, you know, I just stick with the standard hip thrust. I don't think you need to B stance, just standard hip thrust is fine. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. I was hoping it wouldn't happen. I knew it was going to happen. A Bulgarian split squat. Firstly, I will note that of all the Bulgarian split squat variations, I think the barbell is probably the least stable one. So for me personally, I'd actually deem that to be one of the less effective ones when looking at building muscle, because stability is actually quite important in that regard. I'd favour a machine Bulgarian split squat, bloody fantastic. And I'd actually probably opt for a dumbbell Bulgarian split squat over a barbell one due to stability demands, because I just fall all over the place when I'm using a barbell. So again, the principle of using a split squat variation in your glute workout, I respect. The barbell, I don't think that's the most important thing there, so do whatever you prefer. But the split squat, I hate it. It torments me. It's in every video I come across, there's a split squat somewhere, and it's a movement that I don't program myself because it induces too much psychological fatigue for me, and I know that I'm going to go home and cry to my therapist about it later. It's not worth it. Not worth the damage. For building the bottom, fantastic, I respect it. For building the brain, too much for me, too soon. All of those, in fairness, actually really valid movements. You've also got other alternatives, like a unilateral leg press with a high narrow stance. Essentially does the same thing as a split squat, but it's actually just more stable. So maybe that is a better alternative for you. For me personally, it's what I would opt for because I don't feel as tormented and depressed when I do it. You bought a quality protein powder and now you don't get bloated anymore. Couple of things here. Firstly, who are you sponsored by? What are you trying to sell me? When people post things like that, I often think you're sponsored by somebody and you're trying to sell me something. And I go on her profile, let's find out. Yes, she is indeed sponsored by a supplement company, but I thought so. I always say to people when it comes to choosing protein powder, because some people are quite funny about choosing protein powder, choose one that you can digest well. Some protein powders, for whatever reason, just don't sit well with me. They don't necessarily make me bloated, but they just make me feel a bit crappy. And by that I mean I feel a bit sick. If it makes you feel sick, it's probably not the one for you. If you can find one that you actually tolerate the taste of and actually digest well, you're onto a winner. And yes, I think quality of ingredients can be quite important in that regard. And I'm not going to promote any brands. I have certain brands that I use personally because, quite frankly, they digest well with me and they actually taste quite nice, but I'm not going to promote anybody because I'm not affiliated with anybody. What I would say is trial and error. Find some good ones, find some ones you like, talk to your friends, message people, ask their recommendations, and just go through a list, get some samples. I think sometimes they do smaller tubs or smaller sachets for samples, and see which is one that actually aligns with you most and which is one that makes you feel the best when consuming it and doesn't leave you feeling a bit like a flaccid sausage afterwards. Very quickly, link down below, you've got a few things. You've got the link to apply to work with myself on a one-to-one online coaching basis where I can help you work towards your goals, whatever they may be and wherever you may be in the world. You also got the link to the TFNL group coaching where you can either choose to work out at home or at the gym, and you'll follow a program that I've created for you in the group to adhere to, and you can even talk to me while doing so, which is pretty bloody good, and it's less than $1 a day. Or you've got the link to the TFNL workout guides, which quite frankly some of the best workout guides on the market if you ask me. Not only do they tell you what to do, why to do it, they also show you how to do it as well with the bloody exercise library. It's fantastic and they're pretty cheap. So have a gander down below in the description and see if anything tickles your pickle. This video basically speaks about the foods you should remove from your diet to be happier, healthier, and less consumed by the poison the industry is putting into us. And a couple of things there. Firstly, I don't like demonizing food. I think it's a really unhealthy thing to do when looking at relationships with food. I think it also promotes a lot of misinformation. At the end of the day, a balanced diet is probably a pretty good one. And in reality, although I'm not a dietitian by any means, you're allowed to enjoy some things that quote unquote aren't healthy, aren't the best for you. Sure, you may live an optimal life if you maybe don't consume certain things or a certain amount of certain things. There's also a lot of fear-mongering, misinformation, and demonizing of foods in the industry that quite frankly is just not warranted.
Get off processed sugars. If you must have sugar or you're addicted to sugar, I recommend weaning yourself off by using fruit. Produce it industrially. It creates all sorts of imbalances in the body.
I hate when people start saying, oh, this creates imbalances in the body or hormonal XYZ without any evidence or proof of what they mean, or actually elaborating on what they mean. Some people say to me, oh, you eat sugar, you're going to get fat. That's not true. What's going to make you fat is eating too much food. Whether that's too much protein, too much carbs, too much fat, too much sugar, whatever it may be, too much food with not enough movement is going to result in fat gain. Doesn't matter, because largely in the grand scheme of things, simplified to its most simple form, calories in versus calories out. That's the most important thing. If sugar was responsible for making you fat, then I would be bloody obese, because my sugar intake is so high because the amount of carbs I consume on a daily basis, considering how high my calories are, through the roof. And if anyone saw that, they'd be like, wow, aren't you worried about getting fat? I've been doing it for years. I'm not pre-diabetic. My blood glucose is bloody fantastic, and I'm far from fat. Maybe sugar's not the problem. Maybe it's eating too much of anything that might be the problem, and maybe even not moving enough. Would I say too much sugar's great for you? No, probably not. It's probably not the best thing in the world. But what I would say is balance. A little bit of moderation never hurt anybody. So you know what? Don't be scared of things. Just say, you know what? I can have a little bit of this and it's going to be okay. Sometimes you might have a bit more of that and that's probably okay too. As long as you're happy, as long as you're healthy, and as long as you're not scared of food, we're bloody laughing if you ask me, because that's a pretty good situation to be in. TikTok is full of a bunch of misinformation, and TikTok is full of people who claim to be experts or like to convince people they're experts, when in reality, should you really be getting the majority of your health advice from a short form platform that is essentially created to drive mass amounts of views and potentially even money to creators? Probably not, because rage bait, clickbait, and all those things, they drive views, which in turn drives money. Again, I get to an extent there's got to be some there, because obviously you want to get an audience, you want to earn something from the work you're creating, but people will sacrifice their morals and produce misinformation to do that, and that's not okay. But again, like with all my videos, this is simply my opinion, and I'd love to hear your opinion in the comment section below, so please do let me know. But until the next one, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my waffle about misinformation on TikTok. And thank you for tolerating the video.